Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Firefighters podcast, where we seek to develop, inspire and motivate the world of the emergency services operator through a series of wide-ranging conversations. Now, before we go any further, just hit that rate, follow or subscribe button on whatever platform you're listening to. It's a key performance indicator for us and helps us reach even more people. Now here's what we've got for you today. The National Breathing Apparatus Challenge is one of the most respected and dynamic firefighter competitions in the United Kingdom. And it's not a game or a showcase, it's a professional proving ground where operational firefighters from all across the UK put their skills, teamwork and decision-making to the test in conditions designed to mirror the reality of the fire ground. It's held every single year at the Fire Service College, owned by Capita in the beautiful Cotswolds, which if you haven't been, what are you doing? And the event provides a unique platform for learning, collaboration and continuous improvement across services, helping to raise national standards of firefighter competence and safety. Every single year, teams from fire and rescue services across the UK arrive ready to face a complex, demanding scenario. In this year's challenge, every crew was mobilised to reports of smoke issuing from a rented property with 3 persons unaccounted for. The brief sounds simple, but the reality is anything but. Crews have just 30 minutes to size up the incident, make entry, locate and extinguish the fire, use whatever tactical ventilation they do or do not, and rescue all the casualties. The setup is designed to push each team to their operational limits, testing not only their physical ability, but also the communication, the leadership, situational awareness, and all of that under pressure. The MBAC scenarios are meticulously crafted to be as authentic as possible. They use 3 properties across the Fire Service College complex. They have Industrial A, Industrial B, and the commercial building. These incidents are designed to force people's critical thinking and adaptability. Every element from smoke behaviour to heat signatures to access restrictions is controlled by the assessors to simulate the stress, urgency and unpredictability of real incidents. Teams must decide their tactics, select their media, control ventilation and maintain safety while racing against the clock. The difference between success and failure often comes down to seconds, decisions and discipline. So we're doing a 2-part episode collaboration, and for the first part of our 2-part collaboration, I'm conducting hot debriefs with all of the crews from across the UK that attended. Well, actually, we didn't get them all, but what we did speak to is Buckinghamshire, Norfolk, London Fire Brigade, West Yorkshire, Kent, Shropshire, Merseyside, Greater Manchester, Tyne and Wear, Scotland, and Gloucestershire. We didn't get all of them because I wanted to get out there and speak to other people and also get some hands on myself. So forgive me for not speaking to all of the crews, but all of these teams faced similar scenarios across the 3 buildings, but every service brought its own culture, its own kit, its own procedures and approach to the tasks. So these conversations, for people of the public that don't know, we do hot debriefs. So this is straight after the incident. They've driven maybe a few hundred meters, and we would consider this a hot debrief straight after the incident. And these conversations really capture that diversity, how experience, training and teamwork shape their performance when the pressure is on. And then in part 2, the follow-up episode, you will hear a conversation with 3 of the main organisers for the National BA Challenge, talking about where it's come from, what it does, what we assess for, and how it helps raise all of the standards across the UK fire and rescue service. Because what makes the National BA Challenge so valuable, it's not just the fact that it's, a competition itself, but it's the things that happen before and afterwards. It's the debriefs, both hot and formal and informal, all of that collaboration, all of the conversation, the dinners together. That's where the lessons are truly learned. That's where the conversations happen. It's in these moments crews reflect honestly on their performance. What went well? What didn't? What could have been improved? What did everybody else do? Why did they do it? How are they doing that in that service? And why are we not doing it? And all that sort of jazz. So it's an environment built on shared learning and professional pride. The challenge doesn't just test individuals, it strengthens the entire firefighting community by encouraging open conversation and the pursuit of excellence. Through these hot debriefs in episode 1, we'll uncover the stories, the insights, and the lessons that really define the challenge and the people who stepped up to meet it this year. I hope you enjoyed listening to it as much as I did being there. This is the National BA Challenge 2025, episode 1. And I'll see you on the other side.
So Buckinghamshire Fire and Rescue, and we had India.
Awesome. So what were you faced with when you showed up?
So mobilised to just smoke issuing from a building. On arrival, we were told it was a rented accommodation with people inside, 3 persons unaccounted for, smoke issuing from ground and first, but underventilated. And what was the other thing we were told? They've been essentially squatting. So he's been trying to evict him for 6 months and thought they might be trying to barricade him getting in.
So 3 persons unaccounted for,
Yeah.
poorly ventilated, barricading themselves in. So you're starting to think hoarding, you're starting to think, have they damaged the property? Who was the BA team?
Myself and Ed.
Awesome. So what briefing did you get from your IC? Did you do any initial observations whilst he was doing his 360 or?
Yeah, so me and Ed helped get the fire ground set up, start with hose reel to the door, PPV fan ready to go.
Okay.
Tick
Why
scanning.
did you choose hose reel?
Sorry?
Why did you choose hose reel instead of a main jet?
Just rapid.
Okay.
And our hose reels are 22 mils, so we can go up to 230 litres on our hose reels as well. So
Magic.
we've got quite good fire suppression if we need it. Yeah.
Yeah, as we approached the building, saw there was smoke coming out of small vents.
Yeah.
I didn't say it was ventilated, but you could see smoke issuing on the ground and first floor. Used the tick located roughly in the building where the vents were.
Yeah.
Located
Got some
fire as
information
well.
Out of the person who was there when we got there.
Yeah.
Location of the stairs and utilities and so on.
How many persons did you manage to get out?
We pulled 2 casualties out.
Yeah.
One on the stairs, which we located just after fighting the fire on the ground floor. It was on at the base of the stairs. Pulled that casualty out and then located a casualty on the first floor in the fire compartment as well.
How many seats of fire?
2?
We located 2, yeah.
Yeah, located
Seats of
2.
fire. Extinguish any?
I think so. Threw plenty of water on it, so.
Yeah.
I see. What was your thoughts on any tactile ventilation procedures? Or
Yeah, so
you said it was poorly ventilated when you arrived.
It was, yeah. Everything was locked down, and obviously there's some limitations on vents you're allowed or not allowed to use.
Okay.
But
So they don't let you just go in there and start opening windows?
we could, but there's doors, for example, on the ground floor that weren't usable. We were told that we couldn't open certain doors, basically. So TAC vent plan was to secure a vent on the first floor, and once the ground floor is extinguished, force it all through upstairs, and then offensively fight any fires on the first floor with TAC vent following us up, basically.
What do you guys do? Phases in your organisation?
Move from 3 phases to defence and offence, but essentially it's the same. We can do anything that we deem necessary with a fan.
Would you do anything differently? How do you think your performance, if you have to rate yourselves?
There's always room for improvement.
Always room for improvement?
Yeah, a bit of a perfectionist. There's always room for improvement.
Awesome. Everybody fitting well?
We all worked hard, but I think the hardest work in working on the fire ground was Gaz. He's our driver. He got the fire ground set up quick and then had to put a set on as well, which I think was going to kill him. But
What did you throw us out for, mate? You weren't in clean air anymore? Or?
No, we're still unsure on the 3 casualties.
Okay.
And Jeff wanted to make sure we go in and get a vent secured.
Yeah.
And continue on with the brief that the first BA team were given. So
It's a great decision. I love that because we're so indoctrinated into teams of 2 in the UK, whereas you go over to Sweden and other places, they're like, no, we always have a team of 3, someone managing the door, someone handling the hose, and it's great that you're given the freedom to start doing some of that. Well done, fellas, and we'll see you tonight.
cheers, thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely. This episode is brought to you in partnership with Godiva Limited. Godiva is one of the world's leading providers of specialist equipment for emergency services market. Godiva produces a comprehensive range of fire pumps, including vehicle-mounted, portable, and their cutting-edge integrated total water flow control system, SAMFlows. I've been using Godiva my entire career as a reliable pump on the fire ground. It is such a crucial element of a successful firefighting team that you want to empower your crews with the very best, reliable, quality product. Reach out to our partners by checking the notes in the podcast. Now back to the show.
Josh from Norfolk Fire and Rescue.
Norfolk Fire Rescue. Josh, what were you faced with and what venue did you have?
So faced with a landlord that's trying to evict their tenants.
Okay.
We were at Indy B and we had a fire on the ground floor that basically the tenant had believed to have ignited because they didn't want to leave the property. So
How many persons reported?
3 persons reported, 2 adults and 1 teenager.
Okay, and what did the building look like when you first arrived?
Smoke issuing from the ground and first floor, mainly from the ground floor, and using the tick we could just see that there was heat from the sort of entry door that we were going to go into and along the ground floor where the entry door was.
Who was BA?
We were
Any visible flame when you came? You said it was already ventilated, there was already smoke coming from ground and first?
just smoke, no visible flame. As we sort of made entry, there was a definite heat source, like an obvious heat source to sort of go towards to, but no visible flame until we actually got into the fire compartment.
General speed of smoke, colour, velocity, was there any considerations around how that affected your approach? Or
It wasn't that angry. It was relatively relatively slow. not too bad.
Controlled.
As you go in the front door, they'd actually boarded the inside of the door up, so the smoke didn't come out of you straight away. It wasn't until you moved the board a bit more obvious, and we sort of used the tick to try and. It's a long corridor, so the flow path was fairly obvious. So we sort of made our way down there with that.
What's the search procedures in your organisation? Do you follow flow paths? Do you do directional? Do you do...
Very rigid and directional searches, left and right hand.
Okay.
We'll follow a heat source,
Okay.
but that's about it.
Yeah. That's okay. There's a big variation across different organisations. Are you still held down hard to sweeping and stamping? What sort of assessments did you make of the building in terms of this is a large concrete block, but we know it's having work done on it. Maybe there's a little bit of hoarding in there. Maybe it's an ill repair if someone's getting chucked out. How are those things sort of coming into your head?
We definitely get the ability to be quite dynamic when you're inside the building, deciding if the conditions are good enough that you're happy with the conditions and the layout of the building, what it's made of, the construction. If you're happy with it, they're quite happy for us to make progress and move on. But as soon as conditions get where it's not very visible, we're quite rigid in sweeping, stamping, and it's back to basics.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. How many seats of fire did you find?
Just one.
Just one seat of fire. Where was that located?
Gravel.
Ground floor. What was involved?
Just wood.
Just wood.
Just lots of pallets.
Any casualties at all?
We rescued 2 casualties.
From?
One from ground, one from first.
One from ground, one from first.
And we didn't get to the third one. We ran out of time.
No worries.
Beyond.
Any thoughts? Who was outside on the fire ground? Who was driver?
Yes, yeah.
So in terms of ventilation, was there any considerations for forced ventilation? Do you guys do different phases? Do you do positive
We
pressure
do
attack?
Very rigid again
Okay.
with ventilation. So we only do post ventilation once we're fully confirmed the fire's extinguished. So we put
Phase
everything
one
in.
after the fire.
Yeah, we put everything in
Frustrating,
place,
but, yeah.
covering jet and exhaust ready, PPV at the front, but we didn't actually get there.
Any thoughts of an alternate egress? Did any ladders go up or anything like that?
So we had that discussion. We said that when the second appliance turns up, we'd use a 9-metre ladder to pitch to the balcony of Findy B. And we did look for potentially a short extension, but it wasn't quite going to work, I don't think. So
No
just
worries.
said we'll wait for a 9-metre when we've got enough people.
We found an external door to the balcony.
Beautiful. Were you given any freedom around how you were able to ventilate inside? Were you allowed to open windows? Did they stop you going in any parts of the buildings or?
There was one external door we were told to ignore. There are a couple of windows that, to be honest with you, we didn't try because it's not our policy. So we didn't
That's the
bother.
thing sometimes they don't like. It's whether or not the service allows you to start the ventilation and make the decisions inside or whether that has to come from the IC and all those variations. Any initial post thoughts? Would you do anything differently? How did you feel the performance went?
I think it was all right. Well, first one of the day, and yeah.
Not too bad.
Nice, incredible. Everybody feeling well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Enjoy the rest of the year, guys. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.
It is beyond a privilege to be able to bring the Firefighters podcast to you, and we are so grateful for every single person that supports, listens, shares, and follows our journey. But here's the honest truth. It takes a colossal amount of time and work to keep the podcast going. And to help us keep doing it, create more, reach more guests internationally, and make the podcast sustainable, we're asking for you to help. And to do this, we've set up a Patreon page. Now, by joining this, you'll not only support the future of the podcast, but also gain access to exclusive benefits. Now, if you've ever wanted to meet a member of the podcast, buy us a beer, buy us a coffee, and you think anything you've ever listened to on the podcast has been worth £3, that's basically what we're asking you for. By joining our Patreon community, you will get access to every single full episode archive we have ever made. Now, hundreds and hundreds of key documents that we've got in there on fire behaviour, firefighter health, cancer risks, instant debriefs, and so much more. So if you feel like you want to join the Patreon crew and help us make this possible, head to patreon.com/TFFPC or check the link in any episode podcast notes. What did you get tipped out to?
So it was just smoke coming from building, wasn't it? Then we rocked up and it was just standard dwelling, 2 floors. Met the guy, he said there was 3 people in there, drug users. He was basically playing the landlord who's come to kick him out, and they've set a fire basically with themselves in there.
So building consisted of 2 floors.
Yeah.
Venting? Was it already vented? What was it?
not
Display?
vented, no.
It's all shut down.
All shut down?
Yeah.
What about yourselves, LFB? What did you face with?
Yeah, we got tipped to smoke issuing, and when we arrived, it was a large domestic building of 2 floors. Smoke issuing from the point of entry where we turned up. We've had a responsible person, irate, like real life, telling us
Nice.
everything.
You went to commercial, didn't you?
Yes. Yeah.
So were you told and briefed prior to not observe the base, to treat it just as ground?
That was when we turned up. We started gathering information.
Yeah.
We told that's not in play.
Yeah. Because I always think that's one of the. It's like it feels unfair to get tipped out that when you go, well, should I be asking about this or should I not be asking about it? Okay. So, what did you go for as a firefighting media?
Hose room. Yeah,
Okay.
hose
Why?
room, yeah.
Hold that a bit closer to his face.
I think hose room mainly speed of attack. Speed getting it off, wasn't it? We got the 22 mil, so it's.
We did brief them saying if it's not enough, we've got the 45 set up outside, so come in. So they have that in their minds before.
So again, no one's experts on anything, but what was the rationale behind when people say, is it enough? Because you guys went main jet straight away. You went straight in for lay flat. Was that based on the media you felt you needed? Was there a calculation involved? What was the logic behind that? Because you do have reels.
We partly went up there and seen the size of the building.
Okay.
But the brief was domestic.
Okay.
But, a bit of a role play sort of thing.
So when you say the size of the building, you start
huge
going on
building,
area times 5, or is there a mindset behind what water you think you'll need, or?
Well, the bigger the building, usually there's a lot of commercial where we are.
Yeah, bigger potential
medium.
for hazard risk. That's why we went for more. We did downsize towards the end. Once BA crews gave information that it was under control, we downsized to 22. It was one of those rather be safer than not.
No, absolutely. So who wore BA for you guys?
Yeah, Matt was too.
Magic. So what was your brief on when you went in?
Firefight, search rescue. Yeah. Fire kitchen and fire on the ground floor. We think that's the responsible person.
So you knew there was 2 seats of fire already. Is that what?
No. So he said it was one. He said he thought it was in the kitchen.
Okay.
On the ground floor. That's what the responsible person said. Yeah. 3 casualties and then just.
Smoke issuing from 2 floors, so we presumed it's had a potential to be multiple seats.
Was there any visible flame, or was it just smoke issuing?
Just smoke.
Just smoke.
Yeah.
Okay. Was there any thought process from either side about an external attack, about a transitional attack? Was there anything you could throw water in from, or?
No, there was nothing like that.
Yours is a smaller footprint to operate from, isn't it? Because you pull up outside commercial, there's not a lot of space.
You can't move around.
They'll be doing stuff, so that's the challenges of different venues and all that sort of stuff. Who wore BA for you guys? Cool. What was your brief?
To go in?
Yeah.
Left hand wall, firefighter search and rescue, 3 people inside. That's pretty much what we could go off, straight off the bat.
So look, you still do directional searches in London, don't you? What do you guys do in West Yorkshire?
We're moving away from it a bit, though.
Yeah, we do directional at the minute, yeah.
Okay. Is there any limitations in your services around like being able to move away from that when you feel appropriate, or you're on a left pattern and you clearly see a fire on the right hand side, if you know whatever?
Yeah, we get told to use the tick, do flow paths and find the heat, and then if we need to change lay, just radio it back. Yeah.
So you get trained to identify flow paths and follow them? Okay.
Yeah.
Is that the same for you guys?
Yeah, that's what we were doing as soon as we went in.
Cool.
We stayed on the left, and we were saying we've got the option of going on switching walls, but we were just looking for that flow path at the start.
What was thought processes around any sort of aids in ventilation, any positive pressure attack, or what freedoms were you given in the venues as well? Could you tactically ventilate? Were you allowed to open windows or not?
Yeah, so we always try and get fans on quite early, but obviously to get fans on, you want the covering jet on the vent and you want a tac vent officer. So with just one pump there, you're never really going to get fans on. So we're generally waiting for a second pump to get there.
So your policy is to have someone observing on the vent prior, and is ventilation approved, if you will, from the outside, or can the crews just choose to ventilate?
Right, so it's both really. So if you can see some outside that they can't see inside, and they're asking for fans, we can say no. And again, if they can see something that we can't see, they can say no. So you need 2 positives.
Okay. What about yourselves?
Yeah, we were looking for
because ventilation is coming in.
It's coming.
It's still on its way.
So we're quite defensive with it at the minute.
Okay.
We could have gone.
So is most of yours post-fire ventilation?
That's most likely what it's going to be for us operationally, and we needed a clear and obvious outlet, which we didn't have for that.
Okay. So did you guys use that? Did you put them on?
No. We just had it on tick over outside.
Okay. Any thoughts around alternate egresses? Did anyone throw ladders up?
No, you spotted it as we went in, didn't you? To have had a look at different options. But
with the limited crew that we had, it would have been the Triple X would have been, but with the height of that balcony, it wasn't a It just looked a little bit. I mean, in an emergency, would you get the crews off it? But it didn't look like something I was going to throw up just for point scoring.
It's a tough call, isn't it? And we're going to speak to the assessors a little bit later. But that's the challenges they always have with different venues. But I know on some of the indie blocks, you see some teams do it, and there's a good logic to it, but it's whether or not commercial lends itself in the same way to it. So what was the outcome? How did we do? Did we manage to extinguish? Did we get any casualties out? How about what?
Yeah, so fire out.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just one seat?
Yeah.
There's a smoke bin.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Natural fire.
So how many casualties on the ground floor?
One on the ground floor.
One on the ground floor.
Yeah.
Past the fire compartment. So found the fire compartment, put water on that, really knocked that back, closed the compartment down. As you found the casualty just beyond it, left that, let the steam work, came back out with the casualty. Then on the way back in, made quick progress, straight back to the fire compartment, checked on fire development, and then...
Sweat loads of water and shut it down, didn't we?
Yep.
Nice.
Every time we went back past it, we did that.
Beautiful. And then proceeded to the first, and any more casualties there?
2 more. Yeah.
2 more. Get them all out?
We got...
I've got a small box, and it fits yes or no in this box.
No. 2.5. We ran out of
The
time.
family will be thrilled.
Yeah.
Which half? The top half, the bottom?
Yeah.
Was that a time cap, was it?
Yeah, time cap.
Yeah.
We had
Understandable.
a set malfunction. So I had to change sets.
That's remarkably annoying.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then both tick lanyards snapped.
Wicked.
So then we had one tick, and then my tick, we had to then go back and try and find my tick.
Not to make excuses.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Do you guys feel better now having heard that? How did you get LFB get on? Who was BA Wearers again, sorry?
Yeah. That's the, yeah. We went in with 45 at first, so we had a lot of
hard work.
It was
with
hard.
two off
hard, yeah. So we put the fire out, rescued the casualty, had to come back, get more hose. We had a hose already as well, and we had to go and change sets because we knew that. Again, looking at that building, the size of that building, we thought, right, let's go fresh sets. We can search that whole area then.
What was your pressure when you chose to go for? You were at 120.
By the time we got to the board,
good shout. Yeah, good shout.
Just.
Are you talking? You got to put the microphone in front of you.
Firefight radio. I'd already radio said you're working on 120, and they came out.
Yeah.
Which was great.
1,000%. It's a great shout.
They're going up to the next level. So, yeah.
And obviously, with respect, because when you
sense.
guys got there, I think you did a make-up for 6.
Yeah.
LFB were a lot used to a lot more trucks arriving a lot quicker. Other organisations and services tend to be, more used to sort of operating on their own for a lot longer. So you got 1 from the ground floor?
Yeah, and then I asked the assessor at the end, when we come back, changed sets, changed our media, got to the top, got to the door, the top of the stairs, index. So then I said in the end, where was it? She's like, it's beyond that door. We're like, of course it is. So.
Wicked. Was there any more considerations around controlling the flow pass? Did anybody go for any anti-ventilation? Did any smoke curtains go?
Well, I shut the door, the main entrance door behind me every time I went in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you have smoke curtains in service?
Yeah.
Okay. Didn't use them today?
No.
No worries. What about yourselves?
Our truck had nothing in it.
We haven't got service, but they were on the
We
truck
haven't
we were
got our
given.
trucks.
Okay. So that
Off the record.
No, total transparency. So it's a good insight for me because the reason we do these podcasts. No, seriously, just good chat. No. The reason we do these is because people don't know what they get when they come to the National VA Challenge. Obviously, the team do a great job of advertising it all, but people don't know what will go. I hear the trucks at the college are rubbish, or I don't know if we're allowed to bring our own, or blah, 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 blah. Some services have brought their own, some get more or less support. Obviously, all the trucks are needed on the front line, and if there wasn't one available, you used what was here. You were less familiar with the kit to an extent, by the sounds of it. Anything anybody would do differently?
Bring our own truck.
Bring our own truck, fair share.
Yeah. But no.
Well, you would. You'd be expected, you'd be more familiar with your own truck. All of us would be. So there's an advantage to that, absolutely.
Train more with it.
Train more with the truck?
No, as a for think what it is. Just more training.
Yeah.
More training to get like this. This is more realistic.
Yeah. There's a lot of smaller properties.
King.
There's a lot of smaller properties in London where you go to a lot of, 2 up, 2 downs. Whereas when you're coming into the indie buildings or the commercials, less frequent will you go to a large building like that. It still makes it a fantastic scenario, but the sort of orientations and dimensions of the rooms don't necessarily suit some of the stuff that we go to every day. What about yourselves? Any initial as you were driving back now? Because you
Yeah,
took
my-
ages to come off the fire
my
ground. I thought you'd
feedback-
fallen out with each other or something.
My feedback basically, when I was doing my 360, I took the facilitator with me, getting a load of information off him.
Yeah.
And I had the tick, but I forgot to use it. I had it banging against me. So obviously, just
The one tick that didn't break, you had it on you and weren't using it.
Yeah, exactly.
No
So I
worries.
just took the building a bit more.
Well, everybody feeling well?
Yeah,
Awesome. Thanks a lot, gents. I'll see you
Yeah,
later.
thanks. Nice one. Cheers.
This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Gore-Tex Professional Fabrics. Now, we all know the working environment of a firefighter is filled with challenges. We face serious risks on the job, such as heat exhaustion, burns, physical and mental stress, and we frequently come into contact with high levels of toxic chemicals. Now, I have been wearing Gore-Tex for nearly 2 decades on the front line, working in hostile environments, tackling challenging incidents from firefighting to water incidents and in urban search and rescue environments. Gore-Tex have a well-earned reputation for protecting professionals in the fire and emergency services through their family of highly innovative, waterproof, breathable moisture barriers that exceeds global performance standards and are trusted worldwide. Gore-Tex, going further together. So, Ken, what were you faced with when you turned out?
We had...
You've got to hold that near your face so the way you won't pick it up.
We had Indy A, and it was smoke issuing, wasn't it? That was all we had on our tip sheet.
Yeah, domestic dwelling fire.
Yeah. On arrival, there was smoke issuing from the ground and first floor.
Mm-hmm. Any visible flame?
No.
No?
No visible flame.
Persons reported?
Yes.
Persons reported, 3 persons reported.
Okay.
Significant heat temperature, bottom left. Heat temperature up top, but not sort of fire heat temperature at the bottom, so we didn't know if it was from that. We were up against it a little bit because we didn't have any communications.
Just as we passed for entry control, they weren't going to work anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, you're joking.
Analog 2 didn't work, but it might be to do with the truck breaking down on the way here yesterday, so it's been 3 hours waiting for that.
That'd be all right.
So you were able to use your own truck? Because I know some services have been borrowing ones when they get here and stuff like that.
Yeah, we still used our own truck.
Yep.
So it came more reliant on the thermal image camera, to be honest. A lot of it to know what the BA crew were actually doing and interpreting the thermal image camera, which we... feedback was that we did really well because you could tell when they were on the fire from obviously visible signs outside and heat temperature reducer.
Shropshire, what about yourselves? What did you tip out to?
So we were on the commercial building, similar brief. It was smoke issuing, and then a brief.
Were you
on
briefed
arrival.
about the basement?
No.
Okay. Did you ask about it?
On arrival, we asked about it. Yeah. So consideration on the way there was I know that's a 4-storey building, and if you're going to commit us at the top of the ramp, then you've potentially got a basement. So my makeup would be massively different to what it was we actually arrived with. So it's a lesson for me there about having preconceived ideas about what we were attending.
Yeah,
based on the building, the size of the building.
Go in, guys. Fine. Don't worry about it.
So building size upon the way there, it's obviously massive.
Yeah.
So making those command decisions on routing that you then get to scale back. But
So what media did you go for?
What's that, sorry?
What firefighting media did you go for?
I guess. Yeah, have a guess. Well,
OSL TBA?
OSL TBA, but based on the brief on arrival. So it was massively scaled back from what the building was to it's a 2-storey building.
But still of the same... Okay, so isn't it? Okay. What about yourselves, Ken? What media did you go with?
22mm hose reel.
22mm hose reel? Okay, did you transition at any point to a main jet? Doesn't matter if you did or you didn't. It's interesting to see the different dynamics and the thought processes behind what people chose.
No, we didn't, because we're quite happy with the 22mm hose reel was handling what.
Yes, I think from a
inside the building.
From a BA perspective, there wasn't any stage where we thought
it's not doing it.
Yeah, this isn't doing what it should be doing.
Okay. So they were both already vented. Were they closed down when you got to them?
Ours was closed down.
The fire compartment was open and the front door to the property was open, so there was a bidirectional flow path there. But it was quite a distance from that.
On the first floor, there was 2 windows that were open on the right-hand side, but by using the tick, we can see it was compartmented, so the heat on the left-hand side was staying there. So we didn't do anything about shutting those up because we didn't have to. We monitored them throughout.
So when you made entry, what do both your services do in terms of ventilation control? Positive pressure attack or phases, or what does Shropshire do?
Well, if you could tell when you opened the front door that it was
fuel limited. So I didn't really want to shut the door behind me because I wanted whatever was there to come out.
Okay.
So I wanted that bi-directional to keep down that corridor. So front door remained open. So we got to the fire and hit it.
Okay.
Couldn't really see a vent in there to get any kind of offensive ventilation because it was just steam. You just steam. So it's like a... If there was a window in there, it'd have helped, but it might be.
Do you carry smoke curtains on your trucks?
No.
Okay. Do you guys use smoke curtains?
Yeah, we do.
Did you put one in place today?
We didn't use it today. We wanted to use the door when they opened the door.
But we could shut all the doors to the compartments that needed to be shut.
So you had 3 persons unaccounted for as well?
Yeah, 3 persons, yeah.
How many came out?
2.
2? What about yourselves? 2. What were the locations?
One was downstairs on the stairs as you're going out, and then one was in the fire compartment upstairs.
Okay. What about yourselves?
So
Similar sort of layout?
Bottom of the stairs, and then it's kind of like this kind of layout. So it was the bottom of the stairs, and the top was then right at the far end of the building, which was lovely for hose management.
Was there any considerations about different entry points or potential second egress? Or
You're not allowed.
We asked for that, and we were told this was the only way in now.
Okay.
Yeah, same. So on the 360 building, it was, is the rest of this building in play, or is that my only access? We considered putting a ladder up for emergency egress off the balcony, but...
You were a commercial, weren't you?
Commercial, yeah. So
it's harder to do ladders where you are. It's a smaller area and it's a bit of a faff, isn't it? It's harder at commercial than it is at some of the indie buildings.
Yeah, but then obviously resourced, made up early, but knowing that they weren't coming. But then planned for second and third crew would have been emergency egress. But
anything you do differently?
Comms,
yeah.
Yeah, comms would like that. That would have been handy. Information gathering, I didn't gather the information that they were drug addicts in there. So I gathered the information how many people were in there. They were tenants. But,
I don't think that would have had any bearing on the wear, though.
Would have had any bearing on the wear.
Did you both get a brief and they were all sort of struggling to evict them from the property?
Yeah, that's what
potentially boarded it up, so you start thinking a little bit of hoarding, a little bit of issues with access.
That changed our brief. So 2 casualties recovered.
Yeah.
Obviously a knackered BA crew.
Yeah.
So your third casualty, if you deliberately set it, it's a fairly large building.
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to recommit my crew to find someone that's possibly hiding on the top floor on limited air. It's not going to be an easy search, so I'd deploy a fresh crew to go and do that. Whereas if it was 3 people missing and they're all huddled together in a known location, then I expect they'd have recommitted themselves.
Did anybody change sets and go in with a second set?
No.
Is that just against policy and procedure in terms of hot wares, or because you see some teams have done it, some haven't? And
hot wares are generally saying you have a break time with a certain amount of water coming in, normally a litre, and then about an hour's rest period before going into another wear. That's what
it is a contentious point because you see some people do it here, even though they wouldn't do it in their services, and some do it because they say they do it in their services. And
so I would not stop them from doing it in service
if they're fitting well on their own.
If they're fitting well, but looking at the state of them when they came out here,
they look terrible. Right. It's a good job this is no video. It's just rough.
Absolutely hanging out. So for me, it's a no-brainer. Look, it's not worth recommitting. We considered sending in the driver and the backhoe as the second team to swap roles over, but in the end, we just had sort of 3 minutes hanging around at the end, going,
nice,
blow your whistle.
Everybody feeling well though. Awesome, gents. Really appreciate your time and have a good time tonight.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers, gang. MSA are supporting us on today's podcast, and I chose to partner with them because I've been wearing this stuff for nearly 20 years, and they are the global leader in development, manufacture, and supply of incredible, safe products that really protect people, not just our communities out there, but also first responders, most importantly, all over the world. Get yourself over to MSA and have a look at it. The high-performance protective clothing for emergency services responders. They also partner with us on the UK Pink Firefighters. That's because we love them. The helmets with the reflective visor, the F1XF, absolutely epic helmet. And not forgetting how they improve firefighter safety through their connectivity in the connected firefighter platform. MSA are always pushing the envelope, and it's a real privilege to be able to continue to grow our partnership together. So whether it's your PPE, your bunker gear, your helmets, your SCBA, your thermal imaging, your Luna, or your portable gas detection, both of us know that this equipment needs to work. It needs to be high quality, reliable, and dependable in the moment. And that's why I use MSA, because they know what's at stake. Merseyside, what incident we turned out to?
So we had what did we have? NDA, didn't we? NDA. It was just
a building fire.
Building
with
fire.
Smoke issuing from it. Okay. And as we come round the corner, it was obvious that it was a domestic property. Looked like flat, but been boarded up, potentially under renovation.
Was that an assumption, or were you in tip sheet?
Just from looking at the accommodation.
How many floors?
It was 2-storey.
2-storey.
So it was ground floor with a set of accommodation above it as well. Cool. Everything was boarded up. It looked like it was under.
I always used to get told off for that. They always used to say stories are for books. How many floors is it? But I always just what's the difference? What about yourselves? What did you get tipped out to?
So we had Indy B.
Okay.
We got it the same. Smoke issue in. And then there was a role player on arrival who gave us a bit more info with very similar circumstances. Domestic property, ground floor and first, under renovation, with some squatters unaccounted for.
Any idea number of persons?
Yeah, so 2 adults, 1 teenager,
okay.
And then a bit more sort of side information, known drug users. And then internal layout was in the middle of being modified, missing walls and that sort of thing. So a little bit of bits and bobs to think about when briefing.
Similar for yourselves?
Yeah, it's pretty much exactly the same. But,
so it's not a training session of teaching people how to suck eggs, but like just for people that listen, that some are brand new recruits, some are whatever. So what sort of things should be going through our heads when you're receiving that sort of information? What was going through your head in terms of receiving that and what hazards it might be facing?
So once I spoke to the responsible person who was renovating it, obviously laid the information of squatters, potentially drugs, and he'd also said when we went to look through the door, there was it was difficult access, so he'd obviously boarded it up. So I'm thinking I need to potentially get police there, Scottish Power and Cadent as well, due to the fact that I'm telling them, but obviously gas and electric might be tripped, or it could be kind of being used as a drug.
Yeah, bypassed.
I don't know what's going on in there, kind of thing.
Who was your BA wearers? Awesome. So what were you thinking in terms of squatters, drug users, boarding up, potentially sort of blocking entrances or anything like that?
So we identified the boarding up before when we attended. So I anti-vented and then went and told Slacky that we're going to have to force entry.
People that don't know, what do you mean when you say you anti-vented?
I closed the door.
Okay.
Closed the door and stopped the air getting in the building.
Yeah.
So then when we did our door entry, we had to actually physically remove a bit of chipboard. I don't know if it was the same for you guys.
Yeah, we had a couple of bits to slide away.
blocking our entrance. So we actually removed it.
Okay.
And then
were both of them already self-venting? Were they already just showing smoke external? As in, was the door already open? Your door was open when you came to it? Was
partially
yours?
open.
Partially open.
Ours was pretty well sealed up.
You've got to hold that in front of your face.
It was already like anti-ventilation.
If you do that, it won't pick you up.
Oh, sorry, mate. Yeah, it was pretty well sealed up, really. So like already anti-ventilated.
Okay. Any visible flame?
No. There was a heat source. So when we first initially turned up, and as I was speaking to the responsible person, as we picked up on the left-hand side, there was an obvious, using the tick, obvious heat source, which was reading about 300 degrees. So we knew that on the ground floor we had some kind of fire.
Was there any considerations around where you were going to set up around the building? Was there any indicators, wind directions or anything like that? Or did it sort of lay itself in front of you?
So
was there multiple entrances? Or?
We sort of found out initially where the initial access point was, so we knew where the reel needed flaking to, and then we sort of offset a little bit because of wind conditions. You would have probably rather pulled parallel with the front door, but was quite a lot of smoke issuing and staying because the weather conditions staying quite low. So we sort of offset a little bit and extended the reel to give ourselves a little bit of travel distance, staying in clean air.
Yeah, I've seen a few different teams decide to then have to come back and extend the reels part of the way through.
Okay, no, we just did it initially because we realised we was going to park probably a little bit further than what was optimal anyway, just because of smoke conditions.
What was your decision process around using a reel as your extinguishing media? Why that and not lay flat? Or
to be perfectly honest,
I don't know what you guys hold on your trucks.
If it was, we have 45 52, 70 and then 22 mil hose reels. Because it was a domestic property or portray, I know it isn't because it's a hazard, but because the information is it's a domestic property, no visible flame, but an obvious reasonable fire in there, we were pretty happy that conditions lend itself to be extinguished by a 22 mil. If we'd probably got information that it was a commercial property or retail or a bit higher fire loading, and obviously there would be more appliances. And we would probably swap that out to a 45 with 2 teams of 2 on it. But with the information we got and the conditions we had, we was reasonably happy that it was probably single seated and small enough to be dealt with a 22.
Who was your BA team? Magic. So what was your brief going in, mate?
So the brief was basically just a fire attack, find the fire, deal with that, and then search and rescue, clear as we see fit.
Just for other services and brigades and stuff like that, what's the normal search procedures for you? Do you do directional? Do you just route to the fire? What's the pros and cons? And is that in your sort of briefing? Do you get prescribed
We're kind of
go?
like in a transition process at the moment, aren't we? We're moving more towards sort of fire attack, i.e. like use your skills, whether that's your tick and things like that, following the flow path, the heat tract, straight to the fire. Obviously, as soon as you put the fire out, everything starts to get better. And then we can start to vent if it lends itself to it. And then obviously search and rescue becomes a lot easier.
So went in on ground floor?
Went in on the ground floor. From the first compartment we were in, it was pretty obvious where the fire was. The wall was absolutely red as. We knew we'd have to leave the room we were in, turn left, just because the layout we could see on the tick, and we knew the fire was in the adjacent room. So straight away, pretty much.
Was it a single-seater fire, or was there multiple, or?
No, single-seated.
Yeah.
Okay. Wasn't one on the first as well?
Oh, so yeah, there was two separate.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Right.
You weren't at their job? Jesus, man. Okay, what about yourselves? What was your briefing when you went in?
So we initially took 22 mil, the hose reel.
Same rationale?
So when I was sent up there, obviously I was presented with 3 personnel missing. So my rationale is we need to get people. We've got life to save as well. So we've got a fire inside, but we've also got life to save. We can make entry. I'm briefing the team as you're going through, making sure. Feedback to me. If the conditions are too much, you're going to withdraw yourself, because the firefight safety is obviously the most paramount.
What does conditions too much mean?
So if they're saying that they can't knock it back, or it's getting too hot, or like as a BA team leader says, I need more water, I need more fire meat to protect myself, to extinguish, because we could be able to get through making progress, and we could be able to just shut the door and control the fire that way, and still be able to get 2 or 3 casualties out. So it might allow us to get a rescue in place, if that makes sense.
So you guys are talking quite a lot about shutting compartments down. You said about closing the door before you came in. Was there any other ventilation tactics that you used? Do you carry smoke curtains on your trucks?
Yeah.
Did you use them?
Blocker curtains. We didn't use a smoke blocker curtain this time.
Because?
Only because we could anti-vent in such a way that it wasn't necessary. Because we could firefight, shut the compartment down, shut the door to the stairwell as well.
The door of entry shut perfectly. The doors just managed straight through it, so it's perfect.
But it was laid out at the door, ready to go if we wanted it, or we wanted a subsequent team to bring it in.
What about yourselves? Did you do anything similar, different?
To use the smoke curb, wasn't it? Well, just the door was too big.
Yeah.
The door was massive.
Yeah, the briefing was to keep it anti-ventilated and use the smoke curtain. So as they committed, they tried to put it up, but it just didn't lend itself to it. And to be honest, we come across that quite a lot in our station area. Anyway, in like some of the luxury flats with the enormous doors, the width of them physically don't fill it. So it is something we come across reasonably.
Was there any considerations about fan uses early on? Did anybody go in?
Can't.
Yeah, we
can only do stage.
Post-fire.
Stage 1. We do post-fire.
We can't.
Phase 1.
Yeah, until it's 100% confirmed out.
Okay. What about yourselves? Because I know
we had one at the
bit further ahead
entry door on tick over, and then the ventilation plan.
Did it get deployed?
If and when the BA crews got to it, was to start with natural ventilation, and then pretty quickly after natural ventilation, if that was acting the way we wanted it to, would then boost it with PPV. But it never got to the point of using the PPV.
Considered hydraulic ventilation, but we couldn't find a window on the ground floor that was suitable.
Same, we didn't have any vents.
Was there any limitations around what you were allowed to open or not?
There were doors that were out of play.
The ones we questioned that would have been suitable in the fire compartment, but we said, is this in place? Said no. So.
Okay.
We actually found a casualty, and I noticed that there was a door to clean outside, so I was like, we'll just use this door, get the casualty outside as soon as possible. We don't need to route all the way back. And it turns out that door was supposed to be out of play.
If you're too quick for the instructors,
And then so we found
you?
the second casualty, and they were like, "Yeah, you've got to take that one all the way back out." So.
Okay. So you rescued 2?
Yes.
And yourselves?
We got 2, didn't we?
2. So there's 3 unaccounted for, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen different variations of what teams were able to get in and out. Anything you do differently? Any, as you're driving back on the truck, thoughts, queries? Because obviously there are time
all the feedback that they gave afterwards. I think individually we had a brief chat obviously on the way here, and I think individually everyone's happy that their own role was reasonably positive. But I find I've done this for a number of years now, and I think it's when you think it's gone pretty well, they always give you something, like you never just get a thumbs up feedback of it, because it's never going to be perfect. There's always like another string to add to your bow, isn't there? So I think even if you've got a general feeling that I think it went better rather than worse, there's always something you feel you can add to it moving forward. So,
who was our pump operators? Magic and Echoes. What do you think some of the things that are regularly missed with newer pump operators? Because you see a variation of stuff that isn't gotten out. Sometimes people are doing second egress routes and stuff like that. What did you guys think of, not think of, seen as good practice, heard in different ways?
I think for me it's the little wins like the radial cooling buckets, which I think quite often get missed.
Okay, good shout.
We threw that curveball in as well, bringing the casualty out of that door. Like, you didn't expect us to do that, so you were waiting for a casualty at the other side, and I was like, casualty.
And I'd cited the Shortex over the balcony, which was where you guys took that casualty out, which I wasn't expecting again, there's to be a door there into clean air. So again, just, I guess, being aware of where you're sighting your stuff just in case that does happen. But yeah, there's a few bits.
By yourself, mate?
When you get a casualty, how long you spend with the casualty. That was it. Negative feedback, really.
What, then you spent too long or not enough?
No, I didn't spend long at all, because the driver, you're on your own, you've got too much to do. Yeah. Unconscious, not breathing, said, right, putting O2 on straight away. Right, and he says, well, yeah. And he agreed, you can justify leaving the casualty because you got too much to do. The second one, I just said, right, he said, no paramedics here now. So it's negative but positive, if you know what I mean. He said other people stand, if they
especially if your crew's going straight back in and you're standing there thinking there's nobody on the pump, I've got a crew in there.
Got enough to do.
Yeah.
I twinned a hydrant.
Yeah.
So got to do that. So you don't always get to finish everything, or you can put a cordon up.
And in the vast majority of
30 minutes is not long enough.
I think what we get from that, though, a lot of it's very specific to how long it takes you to get the casualty out. So if you get presented with a casualty in the first couple of minutes, you're still setting stuff up, which is risk critical to firefighters. So that's going to take priority. Where if you've got everything set up and your pumps running and you've got your covering jet out and everything's going well, and you've got your water supply in, then you can spend a little bit more time with the casualty.
It reflects real life as well, doesn't it? You've got 30 things that you'd like to all get done, and the priorities on them changed.
But also real life, even in the smaller services, there's going to be another truck there. 10 or 15 minutes, the worst case scenario. You'd like to see one in there in the next 5 or 10 minutes, really.
Yeah, so we set the casualty dump way up, and he went, well, your pump was leaking, so they've got wet. So it's an 08 pump. That's not my fault. The tank would not close.
Did you use your own vehicle? Or did you get one?
Oh, yeah.
So your training's broken a little.
I said, maybe you should have put it half a mile further up there. You know what I mean? So,
see, that's the kind of confidence you get with a few years service. I like it.
So what can you do? It's perfect where we set it up, but eventually the casualty's going to get wet because the pump's leaking.
Yeah. But their skin's waterproof, I think. So that'll be fine.
We did a
getting wet's the worst thing.
competition with these, and they won. They beat us.
Did they?
Yeah.
Controversial. You never remember the losers, do you? You just remember who's won. Well, everybody feeling well?
Yeah.
Awesome. Really appreciate it, gang, and I'll see you tonight.
Thank you.
Cheers, gang. Stick
Cheers.
Well,
Thank you.
Cheers, bud.
What did you get tipped out to? What was on the sheet?
Smoke in the area.
Smoke in the area. That was all that was on the tip sheet. Magic. So who was the incident commander?
That was me.
Magic. What would it look like when you showed up, when you pulled up?
So initially we had a 2-story detached property, heavily smoke issuing from the ground floor, and there was a bit lighter smoke issuing from first floor.
What was your venue?
Indie B.
Indie B. Okay. Did you met by anybody when you arrived?
We met by a responsible person who was stating that he went to evict his tenants.
Yeah.
They boarded the place up.
Right.
And they set fire to it. 3 people confirmed inside.
3 persons unaccounted for.
3 people, yeah. 2 adults and 1 teenager.
They'd started boarding themselves inside, you say?
They boarded the doors.
Okay. And what about yourselves? What was your incident?
Yeah, very similar scenario. Smoke issuing. We're given an address that made it sound like a house, but turned out we're told it was a warehouse. The responsible person tried to evict the tenants. They barricaded themselves in. We're known to have domestic issues, drug issues, and the generally combative domestic violence was mentioned as well, I think, in the information gathering.
How did the building present? Was it self-venting? Was it turbulent smoke, colour, velocity? What were your thoughts when you pulled up?
Initial thought was underventilated. Everything was shut down.
Okay.
With you starting to get dark smoke issuing from, showing that it was underventilated.
So underventilated fire.
Yeah.
What starts going through your head when you see that? And this is not a training course, but I always say to people, like, the people that listen to it, some of them are brand new in their career, some aren't even joined the services yet, and some will be really old in the retirement and going, oh, they don't know anything, but no one cares about them because they're retired.
So initially, as soon as they put the door in, because it was boarded up, it was, I'm going to start keeping an eye on that smoke, how the smoke's changing. Is it getting light? Is it getting darker? Is it getting more turbulent? What effect is the air that we're now in training having on that fire? Thinking for me crews, now created that flow. So now, to be fair, they sat at the door for a little while to establish if they could see where the flow was coming from.
All right.
And then when they committed in, I stood back and was just observing with what the conditions were doing.
So who's your BA team? So what was your brief from your IC when he was doing his look round? What were you thinking about the building and how it was presented to you?
So he gave us the hazard straight away.
Okay.
Our task was, we got objectives, just to go in, firefight. Once we got control of the fire, ventilate. Once we've done that, then move on to search and rescue process.
You mentioned they were sat at the door for a little while, not as in not doing nothing, but for people that are unfamiliar, do you, in your service, do you do door assessments? Were you looking for flow paths? Were you trying to see, what were you looking for?
Check the door.
Okay.
There was a metal open towards us, so we positioned the hose reel so we could make it faster entering to our right, so going in from the left. When we opened the doors, we were faced with these massive boards where they boarded up. So I tasked me high to just go in and just get the door in while I had the reel, so they come out so we could firefight if we needed to. We'd position ourselves at the door just to watch the smoke going in. We noticed straight away we've got to look to see the smoke, so the air going in, so we've got an air track. We identify that straight away, which kind of helped us dictate where this kind of flow path was coming from. But obviously we made our first entry, push right, push left. We looked and we ascertained it was coming from the right, so we just went it towards the right, following the flow path, that's all.
So we're already speaking about, we recognise it was underventilated to start with. We can see that drawing at the door, so even though we've created a ventilation, it's still that bi-directional flow path. Something is still sucking in there, so whatever vent is available on the first floor, was there something already issuing from the first floor? But obviously not a good enough vent to allow that.
No, it was just issuing out with cracks and gaps around the windows. It was a completely sealed structure.
What was the thought process around using a hose reel? Why was that the chosen method of firefighting media?
22mm hose reels are what they've got on the appliances here, which gives us...
Did you use one of the college's trucks?
We used one of the college's trucks, yeah. And it was more about manoeuvrability for the reel.
Okay. Yep, argument for both. Yeah. What about yours? Who wore BA for you? Magic. So what was your briefing and what did you sort of get tasked with? Go on, mate.
Yeah, so we got briefed with the left-hand route and just locate the fire. Okay. And obviously if we come across any casualties, bring them out. So
how mandated is routing in your organisation? Because some people still do directional, some places are moving away from it and doing compartmental, or some follow flow paths, or what's the freedom versus restrictions for you?
The freedom is we can come off our brief 100%,
okay.
But we get an initial brief so that depending how far we're going in that building or what we're doing, we've got a path to go at the start.
Incident commander, why left? Sorry to interrupt. Why did you send them left?
Thermal signatures on the outside of the building indicated that the fire was to the left-hand end of the building. Plan that I got from the responsible person, I got him a drawing of plan. He showed it was a corridor down to the left-hand side, and that's where the heat signature was externally on my thermal scan from the outside.
Makes sense.
Quite obvious it was in that location, really high thermal. First floor, we were in the other industrial unit, which is sort of windows all the way around on the first floor. They were showing heat all the way around the building as well, but it seemed apparent that was heat travel from this bottom left-hand corner. So they went on the left-hand route with the proviso that if they need to change their brief, they can, but they have to.
Carry on, mate, sorry.
So when we first went in, we had a good look.
But it was like a little smoky, but there was really nothing visible until you came right around the corner. So as we went around that left-hand corner, you could see flow paths in the distance. So we came down that corridor, and there's a couple of locked doors. That's the first 2 rooms. But from the outside, from having a good look, you could see the doors on the, from the outside.
Yeah,
so you had a kind of an idea where you were going.
Were all those doors out of play? You couldn't
What's
use
that,
them?
sorry?
Were they not in use? Were you allowed to?
No, they were not in use. They were just locked. So
yeah.
So we came through, and there was like a crib with a dodgy area. I actually thought it was a set of stairs. I was like, I think it was the reflection that was coming out.
Yeah.
So the room was to the left, and the fire was right inside that room and back on yourself.
Okay.
So we went through the door. You could knock the fire back fine, but it was toasty. So we ended up just putting a load of water on it and then pulling the door closed to try and snuff it. Because
obviously no casualties in there. You could see
casualty was just outside of there on another set of stairs, on the set of stairs. So that's why with the idea.
Did you see the casualty before you hit that fire?
No, we didn't see the casualty before. My partner was outside, and then he found the casualty. So because I'd gone in just around the room, just trying to settle stuff down, he's having a good look around, seeing what we've got. Then we found the utilities, so we got that and the casualty pretty much at the same time.
Nice. What was as casualty? Adult, child, or?
It was an adult.
Adult, yeah. And so straight out from the ground floor. Sorry, first casualty sorted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Recommitted under the same brief, different brief.
Yeah, recommitted to continue the brief they were on, to make sure the fire's fully extinguished, carry on a search of the ground floor.
Okay.
And then
ground floor fully searched?
We were going up to the first floor to do a sweep. So if we locate stairs, we'll go up, do a sweep, and come back down.
Okay.
So that's why we went up the stairs.
What did you find? Anything?
No, well, in the distance.
What pressure you at when you decided to go up the stairs?
We were at was it 160, 140, 160?
I was at 180.
Yeah, so he was at 180, I was at 160.
A lot younger.
Yeah, it comes with age, doesn't it?
It just happens, doesn't it? What about yourselves, guys? How many casualties did you manage to get out, and what was the sort of layout when you found your building?
So we fully searched the ground floor when we had control of the fire, found one casualty just past the fire compartment. We knocked the fire back, closed it down, then we brought the first casualty out, recommit to finish the firefighting.
Pretty much the same as them, simultaneous activity while he was fighting fire. I was sending good to came around, locate a casualty.
Do you have any limitations around distance of working from each other when you're inside?
We just follow the 4-bar, so within line of sight of the smoke cleared a bit, so to keep line of sight, visual contact and or communication, so it was no more than 2 metres at max.
So as long as it's line of sight or visual contact, you don't have to have physical through the hose reel, or are they precious about that? I don't know.
We just follow the 4-bar now, foundation of operational being, that's all we follow. So.
Nice. And so you proceeded to first floor after
that? We were kind of let down by a hose reel. Didn't extend our hose reel, that's our learning point.
Okay.
Obviously, we have long hose reels at Tyne and Wear. So we went with a 40 metre, and we should have extended it. So by the time we came to the point of extending it, they blew the whistle.
That's annoying.
But learning curve for us.
What about yourselves? So you bring your own truck?
Yeah, we brought our own truck.
Okay. Did you choose to extend hose reel?
No. We didn't choose to extend it, but we've got a bit longer, so 60 metres.
So most to 60 metres across.
So it's 3
I wonder if it's just the college ones that are 40s
it's
then.
the difference between the 19 and the 22, because the diameter was bigger, you kind of fit as much on the drum. So mostly if it's a 22, it's shorter.
Oh, I didn't know that.
What do you have, sorry? 19.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. So you didn't need to extend?
No, we didn't need to extend, but we did get it jammed. So it was funny you were talking about that because we pushed it a little much. Yeah. Normally, as long as you've got, you want to keep visual contact, but as long as you can keep hold of the hose. And we went a bit farther than what we should have done, really.
What, from each other?
From each other, because I was up at half landing at that point, and the partner was like, oh, we haven't got enough hose. So it was like, we thought it was jammed, but just jammed not far away.
Yeah.
So he went back and followed it, and it was pretty much at the door of the entry. So truthfully, that's too far. Like, we shouldn't be going that far apart from each other.
Yeah. Do you think it was unsafe, though?
No. I'm just being honest.
You know, he's walking back along a path. He's already walked.
It was clear as well. So
the hose reel is attached to the fire engine. There's only one hose reel in the building, unless this is a building that manufactures hose reels, which is remarkably unlikely, and we've no reason to believe otherwise. And I just think, I think sometimes too many policies and procedures can get in the way of firefighters doing their job well.
Well, with that, where our air was, if I'd have come back down those stairs, I wouldn't have been going back up the stairs. So that was that done. So that's why we made that decision, or I made the decision.
What, to withdraw?
Just go. Tell them to go follow the hose line, get some more in here so we can actually get upstairs.
Cool. So you made it to first floor?
We made it to the first floor, yeah.
Yeah. What'd you find?
In the distance, there was a crib that was on fire only just, so I hit it from a distance. But we had some misunderstanding between engine control and our team. So it had gone back that we put steam in the room and closed it, but they were under the impression it wasn't extinguished because that's what we put. Because it was about 2 feet full of, burning ash. So I didn't want to put back, oh yeah, it's fully extinguished and it's done, because it's not. So they wanted us to go back and fully extinguish it, which is fully understandable. So
didn't find any casualties on the first floor?
No, we were told that it was literally 5 feet away from where I
debrief
squirted the
says
water.
around the corner.
Yeah, so which is
both
cool.
teams got one casualty out?
Yeah.
Awesome. Was there any further tactical considerations around ventilation, whether it be tactically or positive pressure attack, or I don't know what you guys do in different services? What's sort of recognised practice in Tyne and Wear?
So we work at level 3, so we can offensively ventilate.
And did you choose to do that?
We tried. The fans let us down.
Yeah, again, we had a borrowed fan with not much battery life left in it.
Oh.
So we did.
So did you try and put it on in the initial attack as soon as they went in?
As soon as they had eyes on the fire and they started applying water, once they confirmed that they got a vent, because like I say, everything was shut up. I didn't want to use their initial entry point as the...
So in old money, that's kind of phase 2.
Phase 2.
When they're on
That's
it,
when I turned it on. So they'd knocked the fire pretty much out, opened the vent, and then asked for fans on, ventilated at that point, and that's when we put it.
Did you guys consider opening any vents internally?
I think we were told that everything was fully sealed, like no vents available, because they'd boarded everything up. That was the given.
Okay, but the question was asked, so you'd have still, scored a point for it.
We're
But
also post-fire only for ventilation.
oh, you only did post-fire phase 1? Yeah, that's annoying, isn't it? I think some services have bad experiences with it, where they've lost a building or it's got away from them or all this sort of stuff. But no, I certainly think it's something we should do a bit more of. Any considerations on the debrief when you were driving back? Anything you do differently? Obviously, you guys had the surprise with the hose rule you weren't sure of. Anything you do differently at all?
So next year, if we're going to do it again, bring with one truck.
Okay. Yeah, it's a fair shout. Who was sorry, for yourselves, any thoughts? Any things you'd do differently? Any variations?
More practice as a team beforehand, if we could, because I think we've had one training session together before we came down. I know other teams haven't had any, but we're not from the same stations.
Who was the fireground ops for each team?
Yeah.
Magic. One of the less shouted about elements, but I know Kush, friend of mine, he won it last year, and the difference that it makes on a fireground between someone that's just getting the reel out and then sort of standing there waiting for a casualty versus all the additional things that they can do, it is a real game changer, and I think a lot of things sort of get forgotten. But is there anything that you think is commonly not done that you think is a real help to the team, or setting up the foundations of the incident ground, that perhaps newer recruits or people might not think of?
It's priorities, isn't it? So you want your hydrant put in so you can guarantee your water. You want your covering jets out in case anything goes wrong with your hose reels that are going in there. Also trying to set up the PVV. And also asking the IC, once there's a lull in the incident, is there anything you like I can do for you? Any messages that you want to go back and anything like that?
What do you expect to see from your pump up? Assuming he did everything.
Everything.
But in a utopian world, what would you expect?
So as I was doing 360, they were getting the reels off, getting the covering jets out, source and hydrant. They would have been looking at risk data if there was any. And then when I was briefing the team, I wanted them in so we could hear what the hazards were.
Nice.
And then it was messages back. And to be fair, after that, casualty handling area, and probably the biggest one would be the beer welfare area for when crews come out.
Nice.
Got somewhere guaranteed they can go, and all the decon is in place ready for them.
What about yourselves?
So I think something that we have that maybe other services don't have is that for level 2 incidents we use a firefighter safety resource. It's basically a pump dedicated to securing alternative withdrawal plans. So they have basically kit laid out to be able to, affect a ladder to a window or to make an alternative point of egress. And so we basically tried to create a mini version of that today with there was basically a staging post for equipment to do that. We were encouraged to basically display that as part of our practices that we adopt in Scotland.
Did you enact any of the duties yourself? Because you see variations that some crews did put an external egress on. Some people did throw a ladder up to the first floor.
Again, I think I don't want to speak for Dan, but I think because we had the, it was secured. It was, it was there was no point in us doing it. We just had it there at our disposal if we needed to use it.
Yeah. What about yourself, mate? Any other considerations driving back? Not necessarily slights on members of the team, but anything you think about doing differently?
Comms. Every incident you do, every real incident, every training exercise, comms is always the thing in the debrief, and this is no exception. Our radios aren't the ones we use operationally. They're old ones because that's all we could muster from the service to come down here. And I think we had some kind of communications failure because of the radios we were using. And
what with yourself and the team inside?
Yeah, between out and control and team inside and myself as IC picking up on that, and that's where sort of a little bit of a breakdown happened with where crews were, what had been achieved and what was still to do.
Controversial question to everybody. Entry control officers. Do we need them still? Because the fors and againsts. All the nervous people. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, we definitely need them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So when we go to places like the Netherlands and everywhere else where they don't have them, they're dangerous, are they?
It's a good span of control to have, and it takes a little bit of pressure off the IC.
Yeah.
And you can...
So I'm just going to play devil's advocate. Doesn't necessarily make it my belief, but... So you're the pump operator.
Yeah.
And you're going to manage the water. Do you need someone else standing over your shoulder managing the water? No. Okay. Are you a competent BA wearer? Yeah. And do you manage your own air? Do you assess in your service to manage your own air?
Yeah.
Do you need someone else to watch you manage your own air to make sure you manage your own air?
I think you always then run the risk of getting task focused, so it's not bad, especially with BA, just having somebody there as a safe focus.
I agree it's not bad, but when I think about alternative things that person could be doing on the incident ground, they could be assisting with feeding hosing, they could be doing door control, they could be putting up that separate egress route. I'm not on about reducing fire engines down to 3, 2, 1 and see if we can just get away with it. I'm just, when you travel lots of different places, I just think about how ingrained we are in this bias. And since the technology has advanced so much, since those initial incidents where entry control came about, I wonder if it still bears the necessity of someone's dedicated job. Because who was entry control on your team? You? Once you'd put the tallies in the board, what else did you manage to fill your time with?
Basically, navigating our comms challenges, I guess. I think I'm much of the same opinion. We're blessed, resource heavy in Edinburgh, and for me, I do think like it is a valuable asset to have to assist incident commanders, because the reality was today, like Dan was preoccupied, and so it was more than just standing next to a board. You're kind of presiding over the incident as well, whilst he's.
I'm not saying we don't have one at all. I'm saying past maybe 4 wearers, put one in, or past whatever, put one in.
Yeah.
But if I've just got 2 people in there, do I need somebody else watching them? I don't know. Because there's lots of things that when the incident allows and resources allow, we go, well, this would be nice, that'd be nice, that'd be nice.
But we still have the luxury of rapid deployment as well in Scotland, so we can use that at the initial stages if we need to. But in terms of having a control officer, it's good to have someone dedicated to watch their BA teams if, God forbid, something happens to them. If no one's directly monitoring them, it just makes longer before that's realised. If you've not got that person doing that job. And as we know, in that sort of situation, every second counts.
There has been some fatal consequences, and there's no 2 ways about it. And that's not me standing here going, oh, the BA wearer was good or bad or anything indifferent. I just think as the growing responsibilities of fire and rescue service evolve and all the competencies that we have to maintain, I think to myself, like I did an episode with Godiva and Samflows recently, and they're getting to the point where they're like, you don't need a pump operator. And I'm like, that's a big shout. And I think to myself, if there's no pump operator, there's no one watching that. If I had to switch one of them, I'd rather get rid of the entry control and get them to do something else, because you're still watching your air. But if someone's not watching the pump and something goes wrong, then I'm really worried, because there's nothing between you and the scary hot stuff. Do you know what I mean? And I just think it's interesting to hear people's thoughts about, we've always done it that way, so let's keep doing it. And if we don't do it, someone will die. Well, there's probably things we're not doing now that would argue we save more life. Like if we had a door person, when you get off the rabbit hole there, but when you go up to the Netherlands and you see them do teams of 3 all the time, It's because they've got one person halfway down the line feeding in, and they're always using 45s or 52s. They're getting a heavier attack on the fire, and then they're keeping it to one compartment versus the first floor, you know? So they're increasing survivability. They've got someone with the fan doing door control and doing all the tactical ventilation for them, and they're increasing conditions in there quickly, decreasing decontamination, exposure to the heat, blah, 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 blah. There's no solutions, only trade-offs. Do you know what I mean? There's no perfect situation, but I just think to myself, we just keep doing it because we've just been doing it.
It'll be interesting to see if when you ask that question, you screen the cohort to see who are firefighters and who are incident commanders, because there's a likelihood that the firefighters will be like, yeah, it's burdensome, and I actually trust myself. And incident commanders, like, I actually value that because it paints the tapestry for me of the incident ground. It gives me and I think I would suspect you'd probably find that would be the split in terms of...
And I think most of us probably, I certainly do it, overestimate your own ability sometimes. If someone said, Pete, because when I go in there as an instructor or whatever, no one's watching my engine control board. No one's watching it. I'll manage my own air. And I don't think I'm any better or what. I'm sure there's lots of you are probably instructors in the room, you know. Yeah. I think to myself, well, that's fine, you know, and I'll wander in and around the building and I'll still get out. Appreciate that's a training environment, blah, blah, blah. But you're right. I just think it's an interesting thing to keep turning over and going, do we think any different? Cool. I want to be respectful of everybody's time. I know you've got to get yourself boxed off and see if you've got any points and prizes this evening. But everybody feeling well?
Yeah.
Massive. Cheers, gang. Appreciate it. What was the initial brief? What did you get tipped out to?
So smoke issuing. It's from the commercial building. And so when we got there, we had a member of the public or responsible person waiting for us.
Yeah.
And they specified that there was persons inside, and you can obviously see the smoke coming out and heat.
Yeah. So you had NDB last year, didn't you? Was it NDB? Yeah, I think you did, didn't you? Okay, so you were tipped out to this. That building commercial presents itself with a basement as well. Was there any conversation around that on arrival?
So my first informative, I stated the building that we had in front of us.
Yeah.
It was corrected that actually treated as ground floor, first floor. So basement and the second floor above, ignore those. But then I go into the realm of, tell you what I can see.
That's the problem with commercial a little bit, isn't it? It plays that trick on the mind because you look at it, and also like for the pump op, it's more of a confined working space. The hydrant is in a different position, although the assessor team brief you for it. You have to wrestle with your head a little bit as to what you're seeing versus what the actual brief for the sort of scenario is, isn't it? So what was the building looking like? So smoke issuing ground and first.
Yeah.
What information did you get from questioning?
So first things first is there people inside?
Yep.
And so they specified that, yes, there's people inside. She's been trying to evict them. However, the door's barricaded, so we've got issue there.
Okay.
Visibly, you've got smoke, no flame, and it was just on one side of the building, the smoke's coming out.
Okay. Position of the truck. Any thoughts on initial observations? Because that is a bit of a smaller area and you come up an incline for that, don't you?
Some major discussions are up positioning of the truck for the last 12 months, I would say.
Okay. And then you had a different scenario last year.
Straightforward, that one. There isn't really anywhere else you can put it on the corner out the blast zone. Yeah. The door, I sort of anticipated being in the front, but they put down the side, which made it even easier where to put it. And you could, so it kind of lent itself to only go in one place. I thought the space at the top was bigger. So I potentially was looking to do a 360 and have it facing the other way, so I had pump bay more visible to where I was working. But the lay of the land, it didn't favour that, so it went where it went. And the best laid plans, I was going to have a discussion, and by the time I thought about it, the brake was on and we were off. And Amy went, "Is this it? Is it?" I went, "Yeah, that's it. Let's go."
So the incident commander was doing their 360. Who wore BA this time? Yourselves. What were your initial thoughts and considerations when IC was doing their run around? Because it's your first time here, isn't it?
Yeah, it's my first time doing it. So Kerry kind of took over the branch, straight to the door. I took braking in gear, hula tool.
What was your briefing? You already had your briefing by the time.
So we knew where the point of entry was. So as an initial...
How? It was pointed out to you by the EC?
By the IC. So the IC basically pointed, this is going to be our door of entry.
Did you only have one?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we got all the kit ready. So we got braking in gear, small curtain, and a dry powder, as well as a hose reel as a plan tap. Then we went back, obviously tested the branch, We were back for a full brief, and then from there it was right-hand directional search and rescue, firefighting.
Were you briefed to lay out just the hose reel, and why did you choose the hose reel as your firefighter media?
It's because it's the speed of attack.
Okay.
This was sorting out the 45. The 45 is always going to be following the hose reel. It was laid out ready to go as soon as they went in the building. So I put it on their assessment. If they need bigger media, they can come and get bigger media ready for them.
Okay.
But for speed of attack, there's 3 persons. I want them in there. So reading the conditions, I've got no issue with them changing their brief. As long as they do a DRA, inform us what they're doing, they can come out and get that for you at any point. It's good to go.
Now, you said you only had one way to go into this building. The thing with commercial is it's on slight elevation as well, isn't it? So wind direction in that type of incident is even more of a thought consideration. But you only had one way to go in anyway. Was there anything that it factored in for you? I don't think it was actually a very windy day today, is it? Yeah, it's completely still. So
It was a vast improvement on last year.
yeah, it was. Yeah, it was significantly windier last year, wasn't it?
It was like a swirling, changing fog last year, but this year it was quite nice, especially for an engine control purpose, because you're going to put it somewhere and then smoke's going to change. You're going to move it. You're going to move it back. You're going to move it again. But this year it was actually, I was in lovely clean air.
So, what was your brief for the team going in? What did you go in for?
So initially we went in, multiple persons reported. The brief was to go on the right-hand directional search.
Why?
Because I wanted to go and read the room, because I didn't get enough information as I should have from outside. In hindsight, I would have sent them on the left. However, I like these guys to have responsibility. They're competent, they're efficient. Go in there, read the scenario. If they got a change over, which they did do, then go on left hand as long as they can communicate that.
So when you say put it over to their responsibility, there's quite a variation now across the UK Fire and Rescue Service around directional searches versus compartmental versus following a flow path, like 2 sort of approaches. What's your thoughts on Gloucestershire's approach, but like what's your thoughts on how much freedom we give the team and what sort of dictates your decision in changing a brief when you get in there?
The thing is, whilst the brief was to go on a right-hand directional search, as a competent BA team, we can change that at any point. So the first compartment, the neutral plane, was sort of enough for us to make a really rapid search in that room. So once we enter the second compartment, is where we use a tick to go, flow path is coming from the left. And therefore, we basically read it back and say we change to a left-hand directional. On the fire, literally was 2 doors to the left from there.
Okay.
So this is the use of tick, the use of just a little bit of DRA.
Yeah. So 1 seat of fire on the ground floor only?
Yeah, it was one large one on the ground floor.
Okay. Any casualties?
One that was not in the fire compartment, but it was further down. So you had to pass the fire to get to the casualty.
Okay.
So we kind of split a little bit. So I stood, fought the fire whilst Kerry went to the end, got the casualty.
Yeah.
And then we had the rapid X on the casualty. Then we went back to finish the fire off.
Was the fire in a separate compartment? Did it have a door? Were you able to close it down? Was there considerations about that?
It wouldn't fully shut, but it was close enough to ventilate.
Okay.
Enough for us to retrieve with the casualty, get the casualty clean, fresh air, hand over to Cush, I believe, and then we went straight back in to finish the fire off. One that was dealt with, then we just continued in our left-hand directional up to the first floor.
Cush, some of the stuff I saw from yourself last year, obviously blowing smoke up your ass, you got the Fireground Award, or Pump Operator Award, Fireground Award. Managing hose at the door, when does it fall into the realm of, not responsibility, but what's I'm going to say as best practice only because you won it last year, like how intuitive do you think pump operators should be feeding that in versus staying at the pump versus the 27 other things you could be doing with that time? Like I said, they went for a hose reel versus a 45 or something like that. You don't want the crews having to delay their progress because they're getting back to the door. What was your considerations outside of it? Because this was a different building to what you had before.
Yeah, so I think you have to look at the objectives and what we're trying to achieve, and there's 3 unaccounted for persons in there, and I want them in there being progressive. And while they're sat in a flow path, managing hose, they're getting battered by heat, and they're not making progress. So the way I operate is, you get in, I'll do that. When I've given you So I had 20 metres of hose reel out.
Did you have your own truck or did you have a college truck?
Our own.
Yeah. Because some people use the college trucks and they've only got 40 metres on it, haven't they?
Yeah, so 20 metres out, 40 in. So when I got to that coupling, I just bang on the door and say, that's everything you've got. Then I'll rip the other hose reel off, put the branch on the ground ready. So if we do need to extend, it's rapid. They can retreat to a safe base. It's not ideal and it's not best
So you're
practice.
flaking the whole second reel out ready to extend?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because quite a few people did extend, but when it came to extending...
They weren't ready.
No.
Yeah.
They were like, all right, well, let's get round there, and like the IC has to jump in and start flaking off, and there's...
Talks about frictional loss and, you know, the effect, but like Curtis, the speed of attack, if the weight of that attack is effective, then we'll go for that. But and if they're going in with 45, then it's even more important that I manage that in for them. So we need to get, in my uneducated opinion, we need to get out of the mindset of I operate the pump and this is what I do.
Yeah.
The word fireground operative is the word, isn't it? You do what is necessary to achieve the objectives of that incident.
You spoke about anti-ventilation on the compartment where the fire was located. Do you carry smoke curtains on Gloucestershire's trucks? I didn't get a chance to see
that was our job as a BA crew.
Okay.
So
do you have one at the entry?
So we had one at the entry with the breaking in gear and the dry powder, as well as the branch. That's our first. That's got to stay outside, ready to be either taken in, or if the door fails, you can just put that up straight away.
So did it get put up, or was the door able to close?
We didn't need to because we didn't shut it.
You've got a void of however much at the bottom of the smoke curtain anyway.
Yeah.
And I put a wedge in the door so it doesn't trap the hose reel. Like Blaine. Yeah. So, and that gap in the door is less than the gap that the smoke curtain would
achieve anyway.
Achieve. So to me, everything I have to do in that time, it's not a priority.
Yeah. So first casualty came out. Any considerations from yourself, differences in what you wanted them to do going back in? Did you rebrief them or did they just straight back in?
No, straight back in. So as long as, because Chris took the casualty straight away, as soon as I got obs and how that casualty was, I then go back to my responsible person. Do you recognise that person?
Yeah.
You know, that's the dad.
Yeah.
Whoever. So right, we've got one adult male out. Right, we're looking for one female, one child.
Okay.
And what I did get them to do is, how tall are they? Because a 13-year-old child, I haven't got children. How tall, or large is a 13-year-old child?
Yeah.
And they stood up and went, about here on me.
Yeah.
So right, look for someone of this size, so I can get a bit more perspective. But no, I want them to go straight in. They've got a better understanding of the inside of that building than I have.
Yeah.
So we need them just to go and crack on and do what they do. So.
If you've had additional information as an instant commander, it's great. You know, if you've now got a map, you can tell them something. But ultimately, you've never been in that building. Yeah. And this wasn't a residential street where one's next to the one next door. So ultimately, like, you don't want to start micromanaging them, do you? Because you're like, well, you've been in there. You've got a better knowledge of it than me. You know, you've got to trust your crews to a certain point.
I think that's a hard venue.
It is a hard venue.
I've done all three now, and that one is, for me, the hardest in every single way.
Did you manage an alternate egress?
No, because we don't have anything on. We couldn't with ladders. I had a triple extender. It was quite a funny moment actually. I got it out and went.
Yes.
Well, you want this, mate?
So I saw a couple of teams put it up.
Yeah.
But you could obviously see NDB from commercial.
Yeah.
Now NDB it will achieve the first floor, but this one, because it's got that lip, if you put it up, and I was like, they'll get a point for putting it up, but it doesn't get there. So you wouldn't climb it anyway. I mean, you might bring a casualty down on it, worst case scenario, but...
I don't buy the kind of putting it up thing as well, like in the sense of, because I always think treat it as real, yeah?
Yeah.
What is it, easier to move up or is it easier to move down?
Yeah.
How hard is it to get it extended? I think it's harder if I've put it up in the wrong place.
The wrong place, because you don't know if they want it, where they're going to emerge from.
Extended than it is for me to actually quickly whip it up, down. So I'll undo the strap on it.
Get it on the floor.
And then I'll have it lent up, and then, but you're absolutely not going to do anything there. You needed a 10.5 at least.
So proceed to the second floor, or first floor, sorry. Anybody there?
So whilst we're on the stairs, we got a radio message to isolate services, which happened to be just by the stairs.
Yeah.
So we got that done, and then went straight up to the first floor, where hose management was a little bit tricky for us, only because we were at 60. You know, we didn't have much left, but we got to another quite large compartment at the end, which was not affected by fire. So we saw the casualty quite further up.
Okay.
So this is where DOA came in, is Kerry kind of basically went on a personal line, on 6 meters. So I stayed in the branch. Kira went out, so I literally just went out there, just enough to grab the couch and then pulled it out. And I was like, right, let's just get out. At this point, we were on the 100.
Had it not have reached, do you think it would have been a justifiable thing for Kerry made an assessment, it's concrete floor, she's close to the wall, she can see it, you can see her.
So if I was to let it go, I know exactly where she is, so I could probably go straight through that. So. But I'd much rather her to be in contact.
Some people do feel constrained by that, right, I'm at the end of it. Can't do it, let's go.
It would have been literally inches, but as it happened, it was just that, dramatic movie. Oh, yeah. Hero moment. And then obviously we went all the way down, and we were a few seconds away from the door until the whistle went. I came out on the 90 bar. Not sure, what'd you have?
150 apparently, she was fine. fit as a bush. Amy, we've spoken to various entry control operators today and about the use of their time, additional roles and responsibilities, and we got into the conversation earlier around, is that the best use of that personnel on the incident ground? Speaking about different international practices, you've done some international travel this year, you go to places like the Netherlands and they're using that person for door control and other elements. Do you we still need entry control, is my personal opinion. At what point one gets initiated, whether that's 2 wearers, 4 wearers, 6 wearers, that conversation can progress, but when resources allow. If we've only got 5 people on the incident ground, do you think there's other ways we could be utilising this? And because it can feel frustrating when you see everyone else so busy. It's not that you're doing nothing, but that's your responsibility. You are there.
So obviously this is our 3rd year, and I've done entry control all 3 times. But we've I think we fell into the first, we're so used to being on 4 operationally, it's quite normal for us to be riding 4. So to have that extra 5th person, the first year we came, we were like, right, well, obviously they want us to go straight into stage 1. So we did that, and Sam suffered he basically had to do everything else on the fire ground. And we sort of reflected and had a conversation, and we were like, we wouldn't normally do that. We use rapid deployment, and we're allowed to. We've got reason to use it. So that when we came back last year, we switched things up. And me and Sam, we work together well as a team. So we bounce off each other. When we arrive, we assess it. What can he do? What can I do? Before we then progress into that next stage. Last year, the guys went in rapid. They were in through the door. And then I took over the board slightly after. This year...
How was that received last year? Was that noted as good, bad, dangerous, good common sense?
I think good, yeah. I think because my feedback the first year was that, well, why did you go straight into stage 1? So I think it's... either way. But then they don't also want you to default to go in rapid deployment if your information's different or if the building size is different. And if you don't need to go rapid deployment, then again, safe systems work, isn't it?
So what was the approach this year?
This year was, again, me and Sam do what we need to do before we go into... And as it played out this year, because of Curly having loads of information to relay to the BA team, by the time everything was set up, I'd done, what I'd planned to do anyway. So I had the casualties handling area out and set up. I had decon area out ready to be utilised later. And then I got the board out and set up just as the crew were about to go in. So we went straight through stage 1. But it could have gone either way. So they were briefed by the incident commander to be, prepare for rapid deployment. But everything else happened so quickly that actually I said to Curly, I was like, I'm ready to go into control. And he was like, well, yeah, let's do it. And they came through. They'd already had their brief, just confirmed their brief, gave me a chance to buddy check them, make sure that no skin was showing and everything, and I just put them straight through stage 1.
Nice. So 2 casualties rescued. How many reported?
3.
3. Do we manage to get a third?
No, we were on 60 metres.
Okay.
And also we were on pretty much 90 bar. So if we were to push any further, we'd have come on the whistle. So
just come out of it now. Any initial thoughts as you guys were driving back? Would you have done anything differently? Did you see... Oh, actually, did you do anything different with the ventilation? We spoke to a few teams that have obviously varying approaches with fans in their services. I can't remember where Gloucestershire are at. What's common practice? Pardon?
We don't do tack vent.
Just at all?
We just do post-fire at the moment.
So you just do post-fire as phase 1 as people recognise it? Okay.
Yeah, not at the moment.
Okay.
Obviously...
Frustrating.
Yeah.
but that's okay. This just is what it is at the minute.
Yeah.
Anything you do differently off that initial hot debrief? Any other thoughts and considerations?
I think I was quite nice and relaxed. So I think it's good to be relaxed as the commander, but at times a bit too relaxed.
Okay, yeah.
You know, my feedback is quite obvious. You've got
You get a
experience.
chair
You've
out,
done
did
it
you?
for a while.
Something like
It's like, oh,
You get back on the truck.
We'll get to that fire in a minute. Yeah. But actually, we always talk about drill mode.
Yeah.
And we go, right, it's not our real life. But actually, I'd be a lot more sharper at a real instant. I always like these little bits of feedback from MBAC because that's something I grow on. Last year, I had quite a bit of feedback and I've built on that. And this year, I can put it into practice and I've made really good positive moves forward. So this next year, what I'm going to work on is actually I've got a tick in my hand. It's not your token tick where you just go, yep, that's good.
Yeah.
Actually read the information.
Okay.
Because I did a bit of
Don't just do the performative wave of the wand.
There it is. I've done what you told me to, and take it. Really get in that mindset. Right, we're doing this for real.
Yeah.
Right, let's boss this like we would do it for real.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm taking into next year.
Sam, you're always the one to kick yourself to death for no necessary reason. I imagine you're going to go and lash yourself against the post for a while now. Is there anything, you said you weren't keen on the venue, but we get what we get, and it's important to be at different venues. Any thoughts from yourself, mate?
I don't mind the venue. It's just the way the cookie crumbles, isn't it? Sometimes just had a funny old safety jet that I tried to box clever with the Cleveland load, and that just went to... Excuse my French.
That's okay. Sometimes it does.
To sort, and once I got that sorted out, the hydrant length burst. That was amazing.
Oh, it burst?
Yeah.
We had one on London's incident. They'd flaked out and it just came underneath the barrier right next to where I was standing and watching stuff like that, and it had a huge balloon in it.
Well, that's what mine did.
And I was just like, I don't hear this.
But in fairness, I think that may have gone in my favour because I managed to rectify that point.
It gives an opportunity to recognise that and go, right, he's dealt with it. He knows it. Yeah.
Probably just chasing my tail from that point, mate, because I spent a long time. There wasn't a lot of room on that balcony, was there?
It's a tight
so when you're running
space.
that safety jet out, obviously it's got to go under the hose reel. We're dragging that in. So they've already run the hose reel in. So I'm trying to... So actually all of my hose on truck was Dutch. Where it would be better if I'd had no Dutch.
Yeah, because when you throw it and then you're
throw
like
Dutch out on it. So actually, that is, was I trying to be smarty pants? Probably didn't go in my favour, but yeah, I mean,
everyone that was up there had a similar thing because I know most people, especially yourself, you like a tidy Instagram, and a lot of them there's a lot of bags of spaghetti going on there today.
It's realistic.
Yeah,
so if things go wrong, you put them right.
Yeah,
and that's life, and I think as time go on,
you forgive yourself. Go home and get in that new garage gym.
Yeah.
2 casualties rescued. You're all fit and well. Awesome. Let's go and have some drinks. Cheers, guys. Appreciate it.
Cheers.
Well, there you go. Every crew you heard today faced the same challenge. Smoke issuing from a rented property. 3 persons unaccounted for, 2 seats of fire, and just 30 minutes to get it done. Similar buildings, same smoke, same clock, no shortcuts. Each team had 5 firefighters, a fully equipped fire truck, and that unmistakable can-do attitude that every operational firefighter in the UK should know so well. There's no extra support, no easy outs, just skill, teamwork, and determination under pressure. And every single one of them is, a competent operational member of the UK Fire and Rescue Service. These are professionals who do this job for real. But here's what makes the National BA Challenge so valuable. While the scenario is identical, the results, obviously, were not. Because the kit they use, the tactics they're trained in, and the procedures they adhere to, and perhaps how well they were able to execute them in that moment, are all slightly different. Those small variations, hose media, search patterns, ventilation strategies, maybe even command styles, had a huge impact on the outcome. Some teams went in hard and fast, choosing aggressive suppression to maybe win time for search and rescue later. Others took a more controlled approach, managing compartments, getting more information on the outside, doing more questioning, using door control, balancing air movement to contain the problem perhaps. Some found both fires quickly. Others had to adapt mid-run when visibility, layout, or communications kind of caught them out. And that's the beauty of it, isn't it? None of them were wrong. They were all solving the same problem with the tools, training, and instincts shaped by their own organization, by their own service, by their own brigade. That's what makes the challenge a genuine national learning moment. It raises some important questions. Which approach proved most effective? Which was the best? Should we, as a national fire service, continue to operate with these subtle tactical differences? Or is there something to be said for greater alignment? Do these variations make us collectively stronger? I don't know. Or do they create friction when mutual aid kicks in, when over the border is required? These are the conversations worth having. Because what we've heard today isn't really just about who won or who scored highest. That's in the next episode. Don't worry, we are going to do that bit. It's about professional curiosity. It's about exploring why certain decisions worked, how small differences in procedures led to big differences in outcomes. What we can all take away to make the next job safer, faster, smarter, more effective. At the end of the day, as I said, every team faced 2 seats of fire, 3 lives to save in the same 30-minute window to do it. What separated them wasn't effort, it was interpretation, experience, training, and that's why these debriefs really matter, I think. So take this back to your station, play it in the mess room, debate it in the yard, ask yourselves, how would we as a crew have handled it? Would our procedure have held up under that kind of pressure, or would we have done anything differently? Because the challenge isn't just about competition, it's about connection. It's 5 firefighters, 1 truck, 2 fires, 21 services. That's how many we had there this time. And 1 shared goal, to be better tomorrow than we were today. And that's what really we should all be hunting after. Remember, this is only part 1 of our collaboration with the National BA Challenge. Later this week, we'll hear from the organisers and assessors, the people behind the design, the pressure and the scoring. They'll unpack perhaps some good practice from this week. Well, I know they do. Maybe what excellence could look like and how we're learning from some of these national top performers. So until then, keep the discussion alive, share this episode, dissect it, challenge it, do whatever you want with it, because progress starts with good conversation. So go and do it. I'll see you next time. Well, that's it for today, folks. Hope you took a lot away from that episode. We started the Firefighters podcast to develop, inspire, connect, motivate, represent, and most importantly, celebrate the world of incredible emergency services operators and the wider sector through this series of wide-ranging conversations. We really love creating this podcast and bringing it to so many people. Did you know you can also find these on YouTube? We do a lot of video podcasts now. You can head over to our YouTube page and follow, subscribe there. And as a final ask from us, whatever platform you're on, please rate the podcast. It really helps us as a key performance indicator to reach more and more people. I've been your host, Pete Wakefield. This has been the Firefighters Podcast. And wherever you are in the world, please stay safe, be happy, live with intention, and where possible, please remember and support your firefighters and first responders. I'll see you next time.